Hi, we're going to go ahead and talk about Lesson 9.4, how to find the area of triangles, parallelograms, and other shapes. All right, so we're going to start with, well, actually we're going to backtrack a little bit and just talk about how do you find the area of like a rectangle. All right, so I got my rectangle here, and with the rectangle you need to know, this is 3, this is 6. Okay, the area, well, if I've got 3 going this way, and then 6 going this way, okay, how many little boxes would there be? Well, you probably know by now, I don't have to draw these boxes, I just take 3 times 6, and my area is 18, let's say this was meters, square meters. And remember, with area, you've got the meters, but then you have to put the square beside that to show that you're talking 2 dimensions, okay? That's how you would write 18 square meters. All right, so now think about that. That's how you find the area of a rectangle. What would happen if I drew a triangle? Look, I divided my rectangle into 2 triangles. So let's just say this triangle right here. This is what we got left. Okay, I suppose you could count the little things. Okay, now is the area of that, I've got 6 there, 3 there. Is it still 18? Well, no, you should understand that. Well, it can't be that big. I drew it in half, the big one. So wouldn't it be fair to say that the area of this triangle would be half of what the area of the rectangle was? Because the triangle basically cut that rectangle in half, and that's true. So that's actually the formula for finding the area of a triangle, is you take the base, which is this bottom number, times the height, how tall it is. Okay, 6 times 3 is 18, and then divide it by 2, cut it in half. So the area then of the triangle would be 9 meters squared. Okay, let's do just a couple more with triangles. All right, so okay, we got our triangle. This is 6, this is 7. Okay, so again, we've got our base, which is the bottom. The height is the one that goes straight up, okay, is 6. So 6 times 7, we multiply to find the area as if it were like a rectangle, right? 6 times 7, well, that's 42, but that would be 42, would be the whole thing. We're not talking about the whole thing. We're only talking about half, so we need to cut that in half. So the area would then be 21 square centimeters. Okay, again, you got to write the square centimeters. All right, I think I need to write a little bigger. That's kind of small. All right, so now you might see some wonky triangles that look like this. Okay, they're kind of off. This is a really obtuse triangle. Okay, and they'll give you, then there'll be a little side off to the thing. They'll give you the base, which is, I don't know, 12. And then they're going to try to trick you, and they'll say this is 8, and then this is 6. Okay? Now, that's really small. 8, 6. Hopefully you can see that better. Okay, so with this triangle, it's still a triangle. Keep in mind, it's still half a rectangle. It's kind of a wonky rectangle, but it's still half of one. Now we've got our base, which is basically the one that's on the ground. That's 12. Now the question is we got to find the height, okay? The height is not always necessarily, the one that's just attached to the base. More times than not it is. But in this case, we've got the base, but we need the height. What is the highest, basically the point that goes straight up from the ground, okay? And in this case, it's the 6. The height is 6. That's what you're going to use, not the 8, okay? So then you would do 6 times 12, that's 72. Cut it in half, that's 36. The area of this is 36. All right. So with this chapter, if you haven't already figured out, there's going to be a lot of little formulas that you just have to remember, okay? Because all it is remembering the formula and then putting in the stuff that you know, and then out comes your answer. So with this chapter, I will say that you can make a little note card of the little formulas that you pick up throughout, because you're going to be learning the circumference of a circle, the area of the circle, how to find the volume, that sort of thing. So it's just a lot of formulas that I'm going to have you remember. If you wanted to create a note card, that would be my best advice, is create a note card and just jot down each one of those formulas. So on that you should have area of a triangle. Jot that down, write the formula. Base times height, and then you could do it over 2. Basically that means I'm going to divide by 2, or base times height divided by 2. Or a lot of times you'll see it written as 1/2 base times height. Basically you're finding a half of it. However, just remember, okay? Now what I mean by weird shapes is shapes that really there's no formula that goes with it. So I could have a shape that looks like this. Okay. Now, believe it or not, there actually is a formula for this. Is a trapezoid, but we're not going to learn that right now. So we just have to look at it for what it is. Okay, so we've got a trapezoid. Let me put down some measurements here. That's 6. This is 8. This is 10. All right, I think that's good. All right, so we've got 6. I'll make these numbers a little bigger. 8, 10. All right, so now we've got these units, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, so right off the bat, I don't know a formula for this, but if I get kind of a weird shape, I'm going to look at it and say, well, okay, well, can I turn this into shapes I do know how to find the area of? Well, looking at this looks kind of like a triangle, so if I draw a line right here, well, now I've got a rectangle and I've got a triangle. Okay, well, let's see. Well, can I find the area of the rectangle? Well, this is 6. This is 8. Well, that would have to be then 48. Okay, so the area of the rectangle is 48. Now, I need to figure out the area of the triangle. Well, I need the base and the height. Well, is it safe to say this is my height? Now, isn't this also 8? Well, yeah, they're the same thing. It's like the opposite side for the rectangle. So this would have to be 8. Now, I need to figure out what my base is. Well, this whole bottom is 6. Or no, I'm sorry. This whole bottom is 10. But this section right here is 6. So 6 to here. So if this is 6, what would this have to be? And I realize this isn't really proportional because it actually looks longer. Well, 6 plus what equals 10? This would have to be 4. Okay, so now I've got my base is 4, my height is 8. Well, that's 32. Now, do I just leave it? No, I'm finding the area of a triangle. So remember, I have to divide it by 2. I have to cut it in half. So 32 divided by 2 is 16. Okay, so now I've got the area of the rectangle, the area of the triangle. Now, well, this whole shape is actually both of them, right? So I've got to combine those two. So I've got 48 plus 16, the area of the rectangle plus the area of the triangle, is 64. So the area of this whole strange looking shape is 64. Let's try one more. Okay, so you're going to have to use you're going to have to start adding these imaginary lines to help you break that shape. All right, so say I've got this kind of shape. Well, let's put some values in. This is 10, this is 15, this is 3, this is 6, and this is 5. All right. Oh, wow, those are really small. All right, let's write them a little bit bigger. 3, 5, 6, 15. All right, hopefully you can see this better. Okay, so again, I've got kind of a wonky shape here. Not really sure what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's not a square, a rectangle, a triangle, or a parallelogram. So Well, let's go ahead and turn it to a shape we do know how to find the area of by adding some lines to kind of divide it up so we can break it up. Well, I could add some lines here, right there, and now I've got a rectangle, a rectangle, a rectangle. Okay, I don't really want to find the area of 3 rectangles, so I think the easier, I mean, that would still work, but I think that for me, the easier way would be to just add a line right here. Okay, well, now I've got one big shape, right? I've got a rectangle. Well, I've got 10 here, I've got 15 here. Okay, so the area of this overall rectangle is 150. Okay, now is the area of the actual shape 150? No, because I've got this piece right here that's like not part of it. So what would we need to do to figure that out? Well, we probably need to find the area of this shape and then take it away from 150 because it's just like little bites taken out of it. We got to subtract it from the overall area. So, well, let's look at the values we've got. Well, I know this is 5, so I need to know what this is to be able to figure that out. Well, how can I do this? Well, I got 15 over here. Well, this is 6. This is 3. So 6 plus 3 plus what number is going to give me 15? Well, 6 plus 3 is 9. So this also has to be a 6. All right, so now I've got 5 and 6. So the area of this little shape right here is going to be 5 times 6, 30. Okay, now that I know the area of this little chunk that's going to come out, I can subtract it. 150 minus 30 is 120. Okay, so now the area of this shape is 120. Okay, so you'll have a couple different little shapes on your sheet to figure out, but again, just remember, break it into pieces you do know how to find the area of and add or subtract or do whatever you need to do to come up with the overall area. All right, well, good luck.